when you go home? What are you going home to? I just finished hiking, and of course my thought is, okay, I'm about to go home. And it just hit me to talk about this. It's going to be powerful. The thought of going home, what does that do for you? The feelings. Do you feel like, man, I'm so grateful to go home, I'm so glad? Not that you have a home. I'm talking about the environment, the circumstances, the atmosphere. You know, some of us regret it. We're loathing it, finding different places to go so we don't have to go. Why would you choose to live that way? I can say it because I've done it and I've lived it and I changed my life. You only have one life to live. And this goes with the other videos I've just done. I think I did 4 or 5. This is the 5th video this morning, and I don't do this when I hike. Go check my videos. I don't record them. This is a message for somebody. What are you doing with your life if you are constantly, consistently, year after year, year after year? I'm not talking about seasons where, okay, I went through a little rough patch with my teenage kid and, you know, tension was high in the house. We're talking about years and years of you just gotta go home. Yes, you're going to be thankful that you have a roof over your head, but you do not have to live in a circumstance, in a situation, in an atmosphere every single day, unless you choose to, where you are feeling degraded, unappreciated, abused, all the negatives that are there, but you still choose to do it. Why? What do you have to lose facing whatever fear you have to face, right? Other than your mind, because you don't have peace of mind. What do you have to lose other than your time? Your youth? Some of us have wasted our youth. I mean, when I think about my 20s and I sat there going home to that in a marriage for 20, I mean, I'm still that girl. I mean, even if in my 40s, so I'm not trying to say it's wasted. I'm just saying we spend our 20s, our 30s, and then our 40s in the same atmosphere, circumstances, and situations, and we are regretting going home. Home. That's our place. That's where it should be. And that's why even me as an adult, and don't have another person living in my home, and it's just my teenagers, well, they're adults now. Same thing. I'm not coming home to anger, frustration, tension. It's never been that way in my house. I'm not saying it's been perfect, and I'm saying that it's going to be perfect, but I'm not about to live year after year where I pay bills, where I lay my head, where I'm supposed to be home. You were supposed to be home for me, and I got to go home and walk on eggshells with my teenagers, or walk on eggshells with anybody in my home. So the question is, when you go home, what are you going home to? Oh my gosh. Some of us are going to be very, very thankful because either we've done the work and we've shifted our atmospheres and it's like, okay, I'm glad to go home. I can't wait to go home. You should be thinking, man, when I go home, it's going to be luxurious. It's going to be peaceful. It's going to be so comforting. It's going to be so relaxing. It's just going to be so, I can't wait to go home. Some of us have some aspects of that, and others of us have a lot of thinking to do. When you get home, part 2, you only have one life to live. And this thing where we say, well, you know, I'm doing what I have to do because I made this commitment, I made this vow, or I promised this roommate this, or I said, well, change it. I made that commitment, I made that promise when I was in a dark place. So you're saying that I should have stayed in a 7-year marriage where there was all types of abuse because I made a vow before God and a judge because we didn't have a wedding, or people that have made vows before God in a room full of people. So you're supposed to stay in a situation. I made that decision when I was 21 years old. I made that choice when I was immature. Okay. And it was not the home that I deserved to live in. I'm talking about the atmosphere and the environment. You only have one life to live, and us putting God on it as a crutch and as an excuse, unfollow if you must, but there's no way. God is telling you to stay in certain circumstances and situations where you're not even honoring him anyway, if that's your faith and that's your belief. If you're going home complaining, fighting, there's tension, and the stuff that we had in my household, and him, a so-called pastor, me, first lady leading the church, heck no, I ended that. I got out of that. Even when, if you say it's not even about marriage, when I stayed with my mom for 5 years and I was taking care of my dad, I was actively saving my money so that I can buy my own house once he got better, because that's just not the atmosphere in the house that I want to stay in. Of course, I'm living with my mom with 2 kids, and we were in one room, my old room, while I was taking care of him. And then, once he got better, of course, I'm going to do what I have to do. That's just not, plus I was the head of my household as a woman. It's hard to stay with another woman, period. It's not about anything bad or negative. It's just not for me, right? I didn't have the peace that I needed, the space that I needed, the privacy that I needed, the tranquility that I needed, because I was in somebody else's house. So all I'm saying is, when you go home, if it's not what it's supposed to be, why are we doing this? We need to stop with well, God said, and this. I did what I needed to do but I'm not going to do what I don't want to do. I'm not going to live like that anymore. I don't anymore. I'm talking to people because my video was man pleasing. I think that's where we started this morning. Man pleasing and being puppets to people. And now putting God and religion on it as an excuse, as justification, when he's not being pleased with that anyway. He was not pleased with what was going on in my household in that marriage. He wasn't pleased with me complaining and being upset and frustrated, with the space when I was living with my mom and not having what I needed for me. So all I'm saying is we are grown adults. We are people. We are listening to society. We're listening to old beliefs. We're listening to limiting beliefs. We're listening to our parents. We're talking about God is saying, and he ain't said nothing like that. Matter of fact, some of y'all, God is telling y'all to do the exact thing I'm telling you right now. I'm following from that. But when you go home, what is your atmosphere? What is your home? If your home is not a home, change it.